Now that we've had a chance to look at the HTML editor that's built into Moodle, let's go ahead and put some of those tools into practice. To begin, make sure editing is turned on in your course, and then scroll down to the bottom of week 1. We're going to add some text into the required reading section to let our students know what things they need to read for this first week's lecture. Go down to the bottom of the block and click the drop-down menu for Add a Resource and simply select Label. Now the label will allow us to display text right on this front page. The standard HTML editor opens up. Go ahead and click inside the box, and then open up the week 1 references.txt file from the exercise folder. I've gone ahead and typed out some references for you. Go ahead and select the references, press Command or Control C on your keyboard to copy. You can go ahead and minimize that file, then come back to your browser and simply press Command or Control V to paste the text. Let's go ahead and look and see what we've got so far. Simply press the Save and Return to Course button. And then as we scroll down, we can see that our references are showing up, but they're not quite in the right place. So use the little Move tool to drag your text up into the required reading section. And now as we look at this, we can see that the information is laid out here, but it's not very pretty right now. So hit the Edit tool, which is the hand with the pencil, and let's go back in and apply some HTML formatting. The first thing that we want to do is convert all of this text into a bulleted list. So simply click and drag to make a selection of all of the text, and then press the Unordered List button. As we scroll back up in the listing, you'll see that the very first item got a bullet point, but the rest of the listings did not. And you can see there's some blank spaces in here, and the returns have not been set correctly. To fix this, simply click to deselect, and then click your mouse right in front of the second reference and hit the delete or backspace on your keyboard a few times until you get rid of all those extra spaces and the previous reference wraps up to the end of the first one. Then hit return on your keyboard, and now you can see that the second reference has a bullet in front of it, indicating that this is now a proper list item. Let's go ahead and repeat that process for the rest of the items. So scroll down a little bit, put your cursor right in front of the next reference, press delete or backspace on your keyboard a few times, and then hit return. Let's do that again. Pressing delete, hit return, scroll down, and one final time, press delete a few times, and then hit return. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and make sure there are no extra spaces down here at the bottom by clicking into the blank space. I can see my cursor is jumping up here. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Press Save and Return to Course. And now we can see we have bullet items out in front of each of the different references, but they're much harder to read now because there's no empty white space that's left in between the references. Let's go ahead and fix that and apply a little bit of other formatting. Go ahead and hit the Edit tool. Now click your mouse at the end of the first reference. Hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and press Return. This is going to put a single line break at the end rather than an entire paragraph return. Go ahead and do the same thing for the rest of the references. Hold down the Shift key and press Return. Scroll down a little bit, Shift, Return, and one more. Click, Shift, Return. We've got those in now. Go ahead and scroll back up to the top, and let's go ahead and bold the text for our journals. So click and select around the entire reference at the end of the first article, and then simply hit the bold button. Do the same thing for the rest of the articles. Here we'll select Coral Reefs all the way down to the 17. Make sure that's bolded. Scroll down a little bit further. Now we're going to select the Coral Reef Journal and bold that. Come down a little bit further. Proceedings of the Royal Society of London. We're going to bold that. And the very final one, we're going to go ahead and for right now, we're going to bold website. Okay, one last thing we need to do. If we scroll all the way back up to the top, we can see that in the first reference, here we have Acropora palmata, and that is a proper scientific name, so it needs to be italicized. So we'll go ahead and simply select that text and press the italics button. Now go ahead and click the Save and Return to Course button. And as we scroll down, we can see that all of our text is much better formatted. The only thing we have left to do is make sure that we indent this entire block of text and just bump it over a little bit, and we can simply use the Move Right button that's built into Moodle, and that formats our text properly. Let's go ahead and turn editing off so we can see what this looks like. So scroll back up to the top, hit the Turn Editing Off button, and scroll back down. And now all of our students can very clearly see all of the articles that they need to read for this first week's lecture.